Alrighty, welcome to another edition of Bet the Beach Live. Norway's Mole and Sarum just wrapping up a victory in the last match of the day over the Italians, Alex Rankieri and Adrian Carambula, Mr. Skyball. And the Volley Vikings do what you expect them to. They haven't lost to Italy's Carambula Rankieri since 2017, and or at least Carambula anyways. And the Volley Vikings go to 4 points in their pool. They beat Chile a couple of days ago. They beat Italy today. And as I've been saying on my daily recaps, if you haven't checked them out, follow me on social, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. That's where you can find daily recaps from Bet the Beach here. Just trying to get you updated on everything that's going on in the beach volleyball world. I debated on whether to do just a recap today or to do my usual show at 9 a.m. or what to do here. And I decided that the 90 seconds that I get to kind of get you an updated on what's going on that day isn't quite enough to really give you the full picture of what's happening in the Olympics. Maybe address some of the storylines that are going on. So I figured I would just hop on live as soon as today's games were completed, and we could chat a little bit about some beach volleyball. I can preview a good slate of games tomorrow. Where we're at right now is that every pool has played one game. Most pools now have played two games. I think the only team or the only pool on the slate that has yet to play two games is that Pool C on the men's side there. And that's Germany, Australia, Poland, and the French wildcard team. That's the only pool that hasn't played two games at this point. Everybody else has played two games. As of just a few minutes ago with Mole, Sarum, and Italy finishing their games. So now we have all pools but one. So 11 out of 12 pools have played two games. So what does that mean? It means we have a pretty good idea of what we're going to be looking at as far as what these matches mean over the course of the next 3 days. So we got pool play day number 6 tomorrow. You see the slate right there for you. I added today the amount of points that each team has. You get 2 points for a win. You get 1 point for a loss. So you see there, Sharif and Ahmed, 4 points. They've won both their games. Diaz and Aleo, they've won both their matches so far. They got the upset over George and Andre. They got a small upset over Miles and Andy, although the way they're playing, I wouldn't call that an upset anymore. Diaz and Aleo control their destiny, especially with the match against the Moroccans coming up tomorrow. They will finish with 6 points. They will finish on the top of their pool. And George and Andre and Miles and Andy tomorrow at 9 a.m. I just said it in my recap. You'll see it on TikTok and Instagram here in a few minutes. That's the match of the day for me for sure. 9 a.m. tomorrow Eastern time. That's 6 a.m. Pacific. That is a match that the winner is assured, I would say, because Diaz and Leo are going to win. The winner of that match is assured the 2 seed in that pool. The loser is probably assured the 3 seed and could avoid the lucky loser. I'm not going to do all the math for you yet. We're not far enough in to start looking at lucky loser math. If you want to avoid the lucky loser for sure, you win that match tomorrow. And I think that'll be a tough match for Miles and Andy to beat over a very good Brazilian team. You can see there they are a dog, albeit a little slight. Plus 125, minus 175 for George and Andre. I think that could be a good match. It could be a 3-setter. That may be a match I could identify as a spot that I could put a little bit of money tomorrow. Yeah, that's why I added the points here, because now the tension ratchets up a little bit. Amman and Helvig with 3, Kotafava and Nikolai with 3 points. Of course, Qatar getting the upset over Sweden a couple of days ago. Then Sweden getting the win in their second match. So Amman and Helvig with a win, they assure themselves a second seed, and that really funkies up the bracket a little bit, because where you expected to see Amman and Helvig in the 1 spot headed into that round of 16, the 1 versus the 16 matchup in that single elimination. We're not going to see that now, so you could see kind of an unfortunate situation where you get a Norway versus Sweden before you get to the finals. Especially unfortunate for somebody that holds a future for both those teams and was banking on them being on opposite sides of the bracket, but we'll see how it all shakes out. Other matches tomorrow to keep an eye on. Cloth and Nuss, they've won every match they've played so far. I think Zhu and Gia in Pool B there on the women's side, arguably the second best team in that pool. I mean, Mariafe and Clancy did beat them in 3 sets a couple of days ago. That was a tough matchup for Clancy and Mariafe. I then took TKN -1.5 against the Aussies yesterday, I think it was now, maybe 2 days ago. They're all kind of starting to blend together here. Clancy and Mariafe playing good volleyball, but not the volleyball that we'd expect to see them, not the volleyball that got them a silver medal in Tokyo 3 years ago. So I would say Zhu and Ji are probably from China, probably the second best team in that pool. And where you expect Australia to pull off a victory over Canada, I would say it's certainly not assured. I don't hate that +1.5 number for Bansley and Bukovic over Mariafe and Clancy. Probably won't happen. Probably don't take it. But we'll see. I'll post my card a little bit later on here tonight. But yeah, as I was saying, TKN control their destiny, 4 points in that pool. They should beat China, and they should come out of that pool with a top seed there. As will AP and Duda, although I'd love to see Guittardi and Menegatti have a bounce-back game. We know they lost that first matchup in Pool A. That was early in the tournament. That was to, let's see, in Pool A. Lily and Paula getting the upset over Guittardi and Menegatti in that first full day of pool play this past Sunday. I'd like to see a good bounce-back match from them. +1.5 at +190. I don't hate. AP and Duda are known to potentially get a little lackadaisical here and there. I think AP and Duda win that match, but I don't hate Guittardi and Menegatti to steal a set, so maybe that's somewhere I'll put some money tomorrow. But the match of the day, especially if you're a USA fan, and also because of its implications, the biggest, most important match is got to be that Partain-Benish, George and Andre match, as I said, 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. Pacific. The Alman Helvig, Kodafava Nikolai match on the men's side in Pool A, that's another one. That's that 3 points versus 3 points. So that's another equally important match on the men's side come tomorrow. And then as we get through the day tomorrow, and then we start looking towards Friday and Saturday slate, we're going to start having elimination games for the first time. And I should say we do have some elimination games tomorrow, but no eliminations that you weren't expecting. You know, like the Egypt women's team in Pool A, no wins so far. They're not going to get a win tomorrow against Lily and Paula. They're going to be headed home. Bansley and Bukovic, they got a win to stay in tomorrow, so it's an elimination game for them tomorrow against Australia. So we've now got to the point now where we have actual elimination games in pool play, and you can really start to see how the seeds are going to start to break out, and that's really when it gets fun. So tomorrow, being Friday, that's August 1st, we will have 10 pool play games. On Saturday, no, tomorrow is Thursday, August 1st, 10 pool play games. Friday, August 2nd, 10 pool play games. And then Saturday, boy, I am really struggling with times. Today is Wednesday. Tomorrow's Thursday, August 1st, 10 pool play games. Friday, August 2nd, 10 pool play games. Saturday, August 3rd, what's that going to be? 6 pool play games to start the day, and then you have your 4 lucky loser matchups, 2 on the women's side, 2 on the men's side, to determine the last 2 teams to make it into that round of 16. So we got 2 more full days of pool play and then a half pool play day, and then we head into the lucky losers on Saturday night. As far as today goes, I would say a lot of chalk. My favorite match of the day, because I had something invested in it, Bet the Beach, by the way. Let's stop there, and let's just talk about how we've been doing here. Today, 3-1. Evandro and Arthur -1.5 against Sam Schachter and Dan Deering. -175, so not the best odds, but that was a lock to happen. So if I can take that money and I can bounce it up a little bit at -175, I'm going to do it. Brunner and Uberli at -1.5 against Ludwig and Lippmann. That was a bet that I had to take. I was telling Lindsay about this earlier today. That pool on the women's side has been absolutely spectacular for betting, and I'll tell you why. Because the name Laura Ludwig means something to bettors, they have been consistently overvalued from an odds perspective. And because we here at Bet the Beach have been styled in over the course of the last 6-8 months, we know that Spanish team of Alvarez and Moreno have been trending up, and they've been trending up fast. And the French team of Placette and Richard, they qualified via points. They had a great qualification window, but they have been pretty flat. They've been relatively flat. They'll catch a 9th in an Elite 16 at best. They'll catch a 5th, or maybe maybe get into a medal match in a challenge event occasionally. But Bolset and Richard are a good team, not a great team. I thought they were going to beat Germany, so I bet on them to beat Germany. They did that, won there. And then I get Spain against France, and I know that Spanish team has got a higher ascent rate. They're moving up faster. They're a better team. They're a better younger team than that French team. Then I bet Spain, and I win that bet too. And the last matchup in that pool is going to be Spain versus Germany. And the books are probably going to overvalue Germany again in that, and I'll probably take Spain -1.5 again. Because it's been a great pool for betting. So keep an eye out. It's not tomorrow, so it's probably Friday or Saturday for Pool F, the final games in Pool F there. But watch that Germany-Spain matchup in Pool F as a potential opportunity to get Spain at a good number. In Pool C, Germany beats Czechia today. Czechia still winless on the tournament. They lost to Kelly and Sarah a couple nights ago, and then they lost to that German #1 team. Which has been very, very strong. They won in Vienna, the Elite 16, a couple weeks ago. They've got all 4 points. They beat Czechia today. They beat France's second team a couple of days ago. That French second team, they are also winless. Kelly and Sarah beat them earlier today. They handled them pretty well in that first set. In that second set, Kelly and Sarah struggled a little bit. So something to watch there. That was not a great performance for Kelly and Sarah. And it was a very good performance for a French team that is not really at the level of Kelly and Sarah. So Germany's got 4 points in that pool. USA's got 4 points in that pool. And then their two teams both winless. So that means you get a Germany-USA matchup coming up here in a couple of days for the top of the pool. So you have not an elimination game, but you have a seeding game there. And seeding is very important. You know, you guys know how the brackets work. You guys have followed March Madness, I'm sure. 16 plays the 1 seed. 8 plays the 9 seed. So if you're the 1 seed, you're the #1 overall seed, you got that easiest path to get to the quarterfinals. And that's where you want to be, right? You want to get in the quarterfinals and then make some magic happen. So that high seed is very important. And in Pool C, you're going to get a match here in a couple of days that's going to be Germany versus USA. Winner gets the top seed in that pool. Loser gets the 2 seed. So that'll be an awesome match to watch. We'll preview that once we get closer. Pool D today, Tina and Anastasia beating Paraguay as you'd expect them to. They got upset by Switzerland, and now they played Paraguay today. They got the 3 points. Paraguay still sitting there winless. The match of the day today, and it was a spectacular one. Canada's Mel and Brandy facing off against Switzerland's Esme and Zoe. Switzerland already upset Tina. That one was a smaller upset, I would say. The books had it as an upset. I had it as a kind of a minor upset there. Switzerland, Esme and Zoe, another one of those teams like Spain's Alvarez and Moreno that are charting up right now. So they're going to be consistently undervalued as they were today. I took Canada -1.5. That was the one bet, as you can see there, that I lost today. And Switzerland ends up winning it outright. So Switzerland wins that first set. Mel and Brandy come back in that second set. What happened today for Mel and Brandy is Mel could not side out. And that's not usual. You don't usually see Mel have difficulty siding out like that. And as a result, she got more and more passes. She got a great lion's share of the passes, and she wasn't able to side out. Esme Bobber was just a menace at the net. Zoe Vergette probably picked up everything. And Switzerland now, on the back of upsetting Tina and Anastasia, the defending 4th place finish from Tokyo, they come in and they take Canadians Mel and Brandy, in my mind, the 3rd best team in the world right now, and they take them down in pool play, giving Mel and Brandy their first loss, and now Esme and Zoe. With a matchup coming up against that South American continental qualifier in Paraguay, Esme and Zoe are in the driver's seat for the #1 seed in that pool. So where, like 30 days ago, they were fighting tooth and nail against Anouk and Joanna Mader just to qualify for the Olympics, and now you're talking about them pulling a #1 seed out of that pool here in a couple of days, a virtual lock to do so against that Paraguay team. No disrespect intended to Paraguay, but they are not at the level of Esme and Zoe right now. And then that Pool D other matchup, 3 points for Canada, 3 points for Latvia. That's a match now for second place in that pool. Very important for Canada, very important for Latvia. So the brackets are all messed up. And as I said the other day, we love that. Come on, give me some chaos. Give me some chaos. I can't wait to see these brackets, by the way. It's going to be awesome. In Pool E on the men's side, all chalk. Czechia beats Austria. Czechia 2 wins. Austria no wins. That sets up a matchup between Czechia and Brazil because Evandro and Arthur beats Canada today. So you got, like we just said in Pool C on the women's side, on the men's side, 2 teams with no wins. Austria, Canada, 2 teams with 2 wins. Evandro Arthur, Perugic and Schweiner, Brazil, Czechia. So now you have a matchup in Pool E. Again, like we said in Pool C, win, you get the top seed. Lose, you get the second seed. And that top seed's important, as we just said. That's going to be a fun matchup. I'm excited to see what that line looks like. Perugic and Schweiner are going to be favorites in that. And they're probably going to be prohibitive favorites on a money line perspective, as they should be. But I can't wait to see what that Evandro Arthur plus 1.5 number is, and I'm gonna be excited for it. Because if you give me that number and it's minus 200 or less, minus 175, minus 150, minus 125 for Evandro and Arthur versus Perugic and Schweiner from the Czech Republic there, I'm gonna be very tempted to take that one. And then finally, the last pool to play here today, Netherlands, Immers and Van de Velde. They get on the win list with a win over Chile. Straight sets there, 21-19, 21-16. The Grimalts, for being a very good team, playing good volleyball right now, winless so far. I mean, tough draw. You take Norway, and then you take the Netherlands team. Netherlands, another one of those teams that's really on the way up, a young team that the books might undervalue a little bit. And then in the other matchup, just finished minutes ago, Norway's Mol and Saram beating Italy's Alex Rangieri and Adrian Karambula. So what does that mean? Italy, after upsetting Immers and Van de Velde in that first match of the tournament, you saw it in the daily recap, Mr. Skyball. They lose to Norway's Mol and Saram. So now Netherlands has 3 points. Italy's got 3 points. Italy's got Chile in the last match in that pool play, but meanwhile the Netherlands have Norway. So you expect Norway to beat the Netherlands there, and Chile-Italy is kind of a toss-up. If Italy can get the win, they make a good bounce back into pulling a 2 seed after struggling pretty significantly here over the course of the last 4 to 6 months. They had a great 2023, and then they kind of fell off here. In 2024, I think there was some injuries there, nagging injuries for the two of them. And if they're healthy again, they're not a gold medal contender, as we just saw against Norway, I don't think. But could they get on a podium? Could they step on a podium? I sure hope so. I'm a big fan of my boys from Italy there. From a betting perspective, as I said, 3-1 today. We're now 14-5 overall. So that's 14 bets won out of 19 bets wagered. 74% win percentage so far in the tournament. I haven't done the numbers yet to see what my average odds are, but I bet you my average odds are hovering right around 100, plus 100, minus 100, which is where you want to be at a 74% number. It's not like that 74% number is at like a minus 200 or anything like that. I don't think I've gone past minus 200, and I barely touch that. So if you've followed me and if you've bet consistently on all those bets, you are up pretty good, as we are. So I really hope that you've done that, and I hope you continue to do that, because that's what we're here for. We're here to learn, collect some data, make some money, and all that. So I think that's all I wanted to get to here today. That's just the scores from today, so we don't need to get to that. So yeah, just keep it simple here today. Just wanted to get you an update, storylines. A couple of things I did want to get to. The darlings of the tournament so far. So we're now 5 days into pool play. That's 46 matches. We're more than halfway through pool play. We reached the halfway point about middle of the day yesterday on Tuesday afternoon. So you got some darlings, right? You got some teams that nobody expected to do what they've done. Qatar upsetting Sweden is the story of the tournament, without question. That was the biggest upset. Sweden was the number 1 seed overall. Sweden was a pretty good favorite in that match, and Qatar came in, and Qatar, the defending bronze medalist, put together a perfect match. And Qatar's a funny team because we've seen them. We know what their ceiling is, and their ceiling is gold medal worthy. Unfortunately, consistency-wise, they're not consistent enough to put that out in a game-to-game situation where they're gonna get themselves all the way through a tournament and then get to the top of that podium. If they play like they played against Sweden a couple of days ago, they are gold medal challengers, and they make me very nervous as a guy who's got futures on Norway, Sweden, and the Netherlands forms in the group. They make you nervous. I'd be surprised if they can pull that off. I mean, I think they're going to break pool here. I think they're going to come out of their pool as the top seed, which is just awesome for them. It's a great story anyways. I love those guys. Sharif and Ahmed play with such fire. They're fun to watch. So that's certainly the story of the tournament, the upset of the tournament, no questions asked. Just making a mess of the bracket. And as I said the other day, We love it. The darlings of the tournament, if you want to use that nomenclature, I think I might go with Cuba's Jorge Aleo and Noslin Diaz. They beat the USA's Miles Partain and Andy Benish in that first match. As I said, they were a slight underdog in that. The way that Andy and Miles have been playing, I wouldn't. If you play that match again tomorrow, I'd have Cuba as favorites if I was a book, sports book odds maker. Sorry about that. And then Cuba, not satisfied with the win over the USA yesterday, they go on to beat Brazil's George and Andre, the number one team from Brazil, probably the fourth of the best team in the world. They dusted them in that first set, 21-13, 21-18 over George and Andre. Awesome match, by the way. Middle of the night here on the East Coast, so I went back and watched it midday after getting my Z's. But the darlings in the tournament on the men's side, by a wide margin, I think, is that Cuban team. And now they sit here, as we said, with not playing tomorrow, so that doesn't help any. Now they sit here with a very real opportunity to not only break pool, but they're going to play that Moroccan team tomorrow or whenever it is. Is that tomorrow? Boy, I'm a little lost here. It is tomorrow. Yep, right there. That is a 3, 4, 5, 6 a.m. East Coast, 3 a.m. West Coast against that Moroccan team. Minus 2,500 to win the whole thing. Minus 1.5 at 375. They're going to win the whole thing. They're going to win that. So Diaz and Aleo end up as the number one seed in their pool with two high-profile wins. It wasn't like they beat, tough teams. They beat two teams in Brazil and the USA's Miles Partain and Andy Benish that are, between the fourth and the eighth best teams in the world, probably. Fourth or 10th. Actually, the way Miles and Andy are playing, they're not even in the top 10. But set a footnote there. We'll get back to that in 1 minute. We're on darlings right now. Darlings on the women's side is that team we just talked about. Switzerland's Esme and Zoe. Zoe Verge-Dupree, Esme Bobner. As we said 30 days ago, they were fighting for their lives to just make it into the Olympics to qualify against Zoe's older sister, Inanuk Verge-Dupree. I just had to figure out the ages there for a minute. And now, two big upsets. They beat Canada today in 3 sets. They beat Latvia's Tina and Anastasia. So they beat two of the top 6 or 8 teams in the world, and they're going to now win their pool with that win over Paraguay in a couple of days here. And so they take a top seed just like Cuba does when you wouldn't have had them as a top 12 team in the world, top 15 team in the world just a couple of days ago. So two darlings of the tournament on the men's side, Cuba's Jorge Aleo and Noslin Diaz. On the women's side, Esme Bobner and Zoe Verge-Dupree. Congratulations. You guys both have done the work to get that number one seed in your pool with that win, be it versus Paraguay or Morocco that you're going to get here in a couple of days. Let's talk USA for a minute. TK looks good. TKN looks solid. Taryn Cloth, Kristen Nuss, the girls from LSU, the United States team with the best odds to win. We got a future on them. We got a future on Kelly and Sarah. We got a future on AP and Duda. We got a future on Mel and Brandy, which doesn't look so good after today, but we'll give them some time to bounce back. TKN looks good. Looks exactly what they expect them to do. I'd like to see them against China tomorrow. It's a match again. They should win. They should break, pool with the number one overall seed from that pool. Kelly and Sarah struggled, as I said earlier, a little bit today. They've been just okay. So it'll be good to see them have a bounce back match, and they have a really high profile one against the German first team. It's a very strong team playing very good volleyball right now. On the men's side, Chase Buttinger and Miles Evans. Let's talk some USA men's right now. Evans and Buttinger win their first match against that French team of Crow and Gauthier Ra. That was an excellent performance. Chase Buttinger came in that game early in that first set and dominated at the net. Monster block after monster block, setting the tone in that match. Miles Evans was great, don't get me wrong, but Chase Buttinger was the difference maker in that match. They beat that French team. Now, that French win doesn't look as good, I would say, after Spain beat France yesterday. France is definitely the bottom team in that pool now. And it looks like it's the Netherlands, USA, and Spain to break out of that. Anything can happen with one game left to play in that tournament. But France has got Bormans and De Groot, and I have a hard time seeing France beating the Netherlands. Number one team there in Bormans and De Groot, a team that I'm very high on. I have them at plus 1,400 to win the whole thing. And then the thing about Miles Evans and Chase Budinger, they play that first match against France, and they do great. Then they play Netherlands, Bormans, and De Groot yesterday. Lose, straight sets, 21-13, 21-15. And the number, not the 21-13, not the 21-15, I'll give you a different number. The number is 14. 14 errors for Miles Evans and Chase Budinger in that match. You're not going to beat France with 14 errors in a match. Never mind, in my mind, the third best men's team in the world in Bormans and De Groot. So Chase and Miles have to clean that up. It's funny because you'd think that nervy matchup would be in the first one, but competition, there's a very different competitive level there between France's first team and Netherlands' first team. We're talking a major jump there between those two teams. So Chase and Miles struggling against Netherlands, Bormans, and De Groot. They got a get right game coming up here against Spain. Not tomorrow, but probably on Friday for Chase and Miles. Their final match of pool play. They put themselves in a pretty good position to break pool. Probably the second. Actually, that match against Spain will be a decider. Probably. All signs point to that one being a battle for second place in that pool. So we'll see what Chase and Miles can do there. We'll finish on our USA recap with Miles Partain and Andy Benish. They beat Morocco yesterday, 21-12, 28-26. The fact that they let Morocco get 26 points is a concern for sure. Now, let's be fair. Morocco's a good volleyball team. They're one of the 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 best teams in the world for sure. Are they one of the 24 best teams in the world for sure? No. They get in because of that African continental qualification. There's probably two other teams in the USA alone that didn't make it, that we didn't send to the Olympics, that are better than them. But they gave Brazil's Jorge Andre a little mini scare in the first match of pool play earlier in the week. And then yesterday, now let's qualify this. It's a 9 a.m. match here on the East Coast, so that's a 3 p.m. matchup in Paris. The sand temperature was 115 degrees. It was hot out there. You could tell it was really affecting the guys. The refs letting them slowly transition during a side switch, getting that water, shuffling them the water as they go from side to side. They do the little side switch dance. There was a questionable net touch challenge on Andy Benish late in that matchup. I think it was a couple of points before they ended up winning it. Did Miles and Andy, sorry. 9 match points in that one before they were able to get the win over Morocco. Miles and Andy did not look good. They did not look good in that. And maybe it was the conditions. That said, it's not like we can expect it's the summer in Paris. It's going to be hot. The sand's going to get hot. If it's sunny out, it's going to be hot. Miles and Andy didn't look good in that match. They just didn't look good. And you know, they lost to Cuba in that first match. They played well, I thought, in that match. Cuba just played better. Jorge Aleo just really set the tone with his block. As I said, Chase Budinger did against France. That's what Aleo did to the USA in their first match of pool play. So we'll see if Partain and Benish can get right against Jorge and Andre. They got a pretty good shot to break pool, be it either into that lucky loser or as a 2 seed, and it's all going to be dependent on that matchup with Brazil here in a couple of days. So I think that'll do it for us today. I've been giving you a lot of information and data on the recap, so please go check those out. 90-second daily recaps update the stories of the day. Also, I got a great recommendation from my buddy Allie. She said include a match of the day preview for the next day. I did that. Today's match of the day preview for tomorrow is that Jorge Andre versus Partain and Benish. It's a matchup for the number 2 spot in that pool. It's an important one. So that's the match of the day for tomorrow. And you can see it right there. Jorge and Andre are favorites at -175 to win a money line. Partain and Benish, slight dogs at +125, but that's not a big difference there. And the winner of that takes 5 points and most likely gets second place in that pool. So that will about do it. Every night you're going to get a score sheet like that. So whether you follow on Instagram or you follow on Twitter, every single night you're going to get a bet sheet like that. And then immediately after on my Instagram story and then again on my Twitter, and always it's at Bet the Beach, which you can see right there. I get you my picks for the day. 2 days ago, so that would have been Monday, we went 6-1 on the day. Yesterday, 3-0 on the day. Today, 3-1 on the day. So in the last 3 days, we've won 12 bets and we've lost 2 bets. We are absolutely red hot on fire right now as far as gambling goes. So if you want to follow along, you want to place a little wager. I got a couple of buddies that have been texting me. One of the picks coming out. I get you your picks every night before bedtime on the East Coast. Yesterday I got them out a little bit early. Today it's going to be a little bit later. We're headed out to the brewery here in a few minutes. But I'll get you your odds here within a couple of hours. Looking at that slate that we just looked at there, just very quickly, I don't see a 6 or 7 bet day again. That day on Monday was spectacular. The card was just yelling at me to bet it. Every other day, 3 or 4 bets is about the best that I can find for you. And at a quick glance on this one, it might be a little bit quieter of a day. I'm thinking maybe 2 or 3 bets here. But we're gonna look into it a little deeper. Get a beer, go to the brewery, take a look at the card, see what I can find for you. As always, follow along on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, blah blah blah. And if you would on YouTube, if you're just finding me for the first time, give me a like and a subscribe. Those are apparently very helpful from what I'm told, or from what I've heard on other YouTube shows. Like and subscribe. I'm not sure what it does for me, but I'm sure it's a good thing. And one last shout out for the day. I finally got a follow from my hero, my legend, in my mind, the greatest of all time, the legendary Mark Sherman. This guy is out in France at Stadium Court on the mic, on the in-stadium mic. And so I've been following along. You follow his stories. And he's got the phone there, and he's recording a story, and he's got the mic here. And he's, talking to the camera, ready, and then he switches the mic on and gets the crowd into it. Guy's a legend. He's the in-stadium guy for the AVP, and I've talked about it before on this show. I've talked about it on this show for sure because I've seen the clips, and I got it clipped on Instagram as well. For the early matches in the AVP, he has 2 microphones, and he does in-stadium, and then he switches to the play-by-play for the broadcast. If you guys have never done any broadcasting, you have no idea how hard that is. That is nearly impossible to do. The guy is a legend. I got a follow from him finally. When the last matches of the day today, there was some question about what time they were going to be starting. It's supposed to be 2, 3, and 4, and then I look online and they say 3:30, 4:30, 5:30. So I DM my guy Mark Sherman. I say, Mark, can you confirm whether or not there's a 90-minute delay here? Man gets right back to me. This guy's probably in the Eiffel Tower Stadium, like getting ready to pump the crowd up. He's probably pumping the crowd up as he's DMing me. Responds within like 10 seconds. Yep, 30-minute delay. All good, buddy. Just a legend. So shout out to you, Mark Sherman. You're my hero. I'm gonna get you on the show someday. That's my promise here. Once the Paris Olympics die down, and we get past Paris, and we get into the AVP, Manhattan beat Chicago. He's going to be busy for them, so I don't want to bother him when he's busy. And we see what the league's going to look like. First guest we're going to have here on Bet the Beach Live via Zoom. He's going to be up here in a box, right up here. Mark Sherman. We're going to get to interview Mark Sherman. I have not guaranteed that with him yet. I haven't even asked him that yet. He has no idea that I'm saying this right now. But that's the goal. The goal is, on this program, that's our first white whale. We haven't had any guests on this show. The first one's going to be Mark Sherman, the legend Mark Sherman. I was pumped to see he got me a follow yesterday. You guys should all do the same. Give me a follow at Bet the Beach. We will see you tomorrow on our daily recap. Keep an eye out for the bets and the odds, our ticket to be posted later on tonight. And, we'll see you every day until these Olympics are over. Have a good one.